In the last video I did, I talked about why does actors make so much. A couple of you had some choice comments to make in there. I'm not going to add images here of those comments. You can go back to the last video if you want to see who said what. I want to start off with a more positive comment that added some insight to the issue as well, and that was that someone mentioned I forgot the agent fees, and I did. I was just trying to keep things simple. That was the only reason I didn't add it in. I wanted to go on just a really base number, but sure, we can add that in. So stars are already losing 50% of their pay to taxes and other fees. If we add in the agent's fees, they're now losing 70% of the total pot of money they would have. So take 70% out of 5 million for the number we used, and you can see how bad that gets. Another person said they agreed with me up until the point of the lifestyle. And yes, there are those who squander their money away. We're always going to have those of people that get money, whether it be a lottery winner, somebody gets an estate, whatever it is. But it doesn't change the fact that you still have to pay for things the common person does not. Security and wealth management are two things that can be fairly expensive when you become famous, because the places you have to go for those are going to charge you a substantial fee for that. So also house costs are also going to be an associated thing that are going to be more expensive, because you have to pick specific areas to live in. You can't just live in the middle of, an apartment complex in Denver to save money. It doesn't work that way. And so if you look at somebody like Post Malone, he had to get a house out in the middle of the desert in order to find security and peace. As for the most negative of the comments, this is the type of person I'm talking about. Clueless. He claims that he's a business major, so he knows how to funnel money around to avoid taxes. I'll give you some credit that there are lots of creative things you can do with money if you understand how the system works. But unfortunately, that only helps a little. And in the movie industry, a lot of what gets taken happens before your taxes even get pulled. So there's not too much you can do there. The same guy claims to be a business major and later comments that he only cleared $45K in the year. Looking at the average salary for a business major, it's around $89,000. That's the national average. And looking at where your pay was at, that's pretty bad considering you'd be a business major. So if that's the case, I don't think I'm going to listen to any advice you have, and I wouldn't want you managing my money at all or my business if that's how you're doing. Doesn't sound like you're doing so well there. Lastly, you made it quite clear you're fine with anybody that makes more money than you having no privacy, that they should just be stomped on because they make just more money, and nobody should have to feel too bad for you. That's not even a right point at all. There's a correlation between empathy and intelligence, and a lot can be said for prosperity and understanding. But sure, you go ahead and have a pity party for yourself because you didn't make the money you think you should have because you've got a business degree. To be clear, I'm not enamored of movie stars. I made that video to use a higher dollar amount to show how quickly that money dissipates with all the fees and stuff that's there. Considering the strikes for people making much less, imagine you cleared $30K for the year before all those taxes and fees, and you try to survive on that. Do I think some film stars make too much? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not going to spite the 158,400 workers because 1,600 of the 160,000 workers are making too much.